Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Sandra and I have here with me Cam Watt. And just before we do start, this is not between two ferns, despite the fact that we have a plant here. We had a bit of a giggle about that earlier on. So today I really wanted to speak to you, Cam. You know, I know we've had a few discussions about marketing, social media, content, you know, where the world is going in the world of kind of digital, and you know, I really wanted to use today as an opportunity to kind of discover a little bit more about what you do. You know, I know, you know, it's super important, content, video, videography, photos, all that. But I really wanted to speak to you about what you do and, you know, production versus videography, the benefits of having someone like you and your team coming along. So yeah, just wanted to kind of hand it over to you and see if you can kind of talk to us a little bit more about what it is that you do and the importance of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. So I run a production company. We're Australia-wide.
Yep.
It's called Sky Video, and we've been creating content for brands, companies and people for about 10 years.
Yep.
We've seen the media space transform rapidly from the old world with TV commercials, movie theatres and, kind of like that classic media advertising, traditional media, where now it's, you know, really expanded into this new world of social media content as well as all that other stuff. And what we provide for our clients is we provide an end-to-end solution for content creation or digital asset creation. So when I refer to digital assets, I'm mostly talking about video, photography or animation services. And these can be deployed across all different channels. So we still do TV commercials. Video on demand is a really popular one now. So it's going on to like digital TV. So Channel 10 Plus, Channel 9, Kygo, Binge, things like that. But essentially, I think like hearing your question there, I think like one of the things to discuss today, which will hopefully help your audience a lot, is actually like giving them some information around like what kind of production house or what kind of video people you need to achieve a certain result. Ultimately, like with video, the clients are usually very focused on like the end product. So like we need a 30-second video to go here, or we need to get video for the website, and we need to get a video done of the boss talking to someone else in the company because we've got a new product out, and it's going to be like 3 minutes or whatever. And you kind of then like make an inquiry with, you know, a few different video production companies or agencies or whatever, and like the range of answers you get or the variations in quotes, you know, one place will quote you like $1,500, another place will be like, oh, it's 300 grand. It's like, wow. And it's a really confusing space.
It is,
And because it's evolved so quickly, like a lot of people are struggling to keep up. And so I'm hoping that our conversation today will demystify some of this for your customers.
Absolutely. And can you tell me, I guess, you know, you just mentioned someone will quote 1,500 and someone will quote 300,000. What is the difference? Because it's such a vast amount. Like, what is the difference between, you know, and I know when I kind of initially connected with you as well, I just was like, oh, videographer. You're like, no, it's production. Like, there's so much more to what you do. And I think that's what a lot of people kind of, it's one of those things, knowledge is power. I think if you don't know what you don't know. So what is that difference between a $1,500 video to a, you know, I mean, it doesn't have to be 300,000, but say 100,000. What is that difference?
Yeah, great question. So usually it'll be the amount of people on the project and the level of expertise. So kind of starting off at the grassroots level now, a lot of people use the word videographer. Videographers will be like a one person. They'll have their own kits. They'll come out and shoot, a range of projects. Where it gets confusing is that, like, you know, there's different levels of videographers. Some of them can pull off more ambitious projects. However, if you start introducing like talent, people talking, and different layers of, you know, creativity, or even like needing a certain volume of content, that's where like one person's going to be really extended and they're not going to be able to do that job. So like to distill it down as much as possible, for simple productions that kind of just require video, that's where you'll get a videographer. But majority of brands that are looking for something more strategic and where they need like messaging built into that asset, that's where you'll be engaging with a creative agency and then a production company. With a production company like myself, I've fallen into the role of being a producer and a director. A lot of people kind of set out to get into the video industry, film industry, and you know, they've got ambitions of being a director. I wasn't like that. I just wanted to make movies and content and stuff, but I just fell into that role organically. And the amount of organisation that takes place, the strategy that goes into everything.
I think that's a really important thing you say, strategy, because I think a lot of the times when people come, you know, to you or even to me, they come with, hey, this is what we want, without actually knowing or understanding what the strategy is beforehand. So I think for you and your team, you would bring so much knowledge and experience to the table to be able to direct them in the right way, because sometimes people will come, hey, we need this video with Jackie and John for whatever, right, for social media, but it's like, does that actually align with the overall strategy of where your business is going, and is that actually what you need? I mean, sometimes it might not be what they need at all. So I think that's a really valid point that you bring. And
to make it a little bit more confusing, but hopefully your audience gets value out of this. You can even approach certain production companies and they won't even have a creative strategy element to them. So they actually might bring in a director to bring in the creative, or they might rely on or collaborate with a creative agency who's worked the strategy. And then the production company's literally there just to like make the vision come to life. But you're talking with like, you know, really big camera rigs. You're talking crews of 7 to 20 people, maybe even more, depending on the complexity of the project. And that's why it still is such a grey area, you know. And one of my passions is trying to demystify that for people, so that they're talking to the right people, they're getting the right information, and they're understanding where their investment's going as well.
Absolutely. And I think what I really wanted to kind of bring forward today as well was, obviously I wear the PR hat and the social media hat, and I can, you know, and I say this whenever I meet with clients, video, and everyone that's watching video gets the highest conversion. So people will still be most likely to engage, watch and convert when they're actually connecting with video, with impactful video. So, and I think what we're going to start seeing more and more as years progress is video is king. You know, they say content is queen or content is king. It really is super important. So I think, you know, sometimes people have kind of left it on the back bench because they're like, it's either too expensive or we don't know what to do, or we don't know. But honestly, that is really where the world of, you know, and not just social media, digital media, you know, even, you know, ads, anything people do, it's really very heavily coming down to video. So I think it's important for people, if they haven't already considered video, to think about how they can actually implement, you know, production or video into their business, because I think that's what can transition a business from being good to great. I want to kind of go on another way. You've talked to me a little bit about Netflix and things like that. You've done a little bit of work with Netflix, or a lot of work with Netflix. Can you talk to me about that? Because I think what that does, it really showcases your, you know, your authority. I mean, you're not just someone that's going, hey, I'm doing production. Like, you've worked with the biggest kind of companies in the world in production. Can you talk me through that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So we've done a couple of projects with Netflix. So I've got a partnership with a post-production house in Queensland called Synctum. Johnny and Declan are the two co-founders of that company. They just did some work for Stranger Things Series 5 recently. So I wasn't directly linked with that project per se, but they worked on that one. And then I've done other activation projects with Netflix in Melbourne. We've worked with Stan on a few productions as well. And I've worked in a couple of like big budget movie films as well.
Wonderful.
And I think like when you get to a certain level in the industry, it kind of all blends a little bit. Like that's why you see like movie stars doing so many commercials. And then you start to see like the actors, they start becoming producers and executive producers, and then some of them will direct.
It all kind of merges.
It really starts to merge. And I think what that comes down to is because the skill sets you learn, whether you're in front of the camera or behind the camera, you end up like having to pick up a little bit of the lighting, the editing, the producing is probably like one of the biggest ones for me. Actually, we've got a lady who helps us with our outreach in Sydney, Tash, and she's currently in film school, and she approached us for a job. And she reached out to about 80 different production companies, and we gave her an opportunity. And she went back to school and told her professor, like, I've just landed this gig with a production company. And he was really surprised. It's like, wow, like it's really hard to get your foot in the door.
Yeah.
But she just had, like I look for in people like...
Hunger.
Yeah, like enthusiasm, passion, integrity. But she had that genuine interest in the marketing and the creative.
Yeah, great.
A lot of people get into this industry because they just want to be like a director or a cinematographer or an editor, and they want to work on big movies, but it's step by step for a lot of us. You know, for a lot of us, you've got to get in and work your way up. And producing is one of those skills that if you can learn the art of producing, whether you're helping a customer produce a $4,000 or $5,000 video for their brand, or a $20,000 video, or a $100,000 TV commercial, once you understand that framework, you can then go and make a movie.
Yeah, great.
You know?
Yeah.
But I mean, where's the value in that to your clients? I think it's like letting your clients know that a lot of people working on these commercials and ads and social content also will have a career attached to the movie industry or to TV shows. Because it really does blend, and you can take a lot of creativity from those industries.
Of course, and you learn different things from different industries, absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that you kind of mentioned, you know, going back a few minutes ago, you said, you know, you could be 5,000, 10,000. You know, when we talk about you working with, you know, was it Stan that you said?
Done some stuff with Stan as well,
Netflix, you know, and all the big ones. People think, I can't afford this guy. He's worked with, you know, he's a producer. And I think what we want to do and what I want to do, and you mentioned, is to demystify that. You know, it's not like you're out of reach or that, you know, we literally have like this amazing producer right here in Perth that, you know, I want more people to know about you, because I feel like you're like a hidden gem. And I know, you know, you've recently moved back, you've been living in Sydney, but I think, you know, you've got the experience, you've got the portfolio, you've got the knowledge to be able to really elevate brands. You know, for me as a PR person, my role is to elevate my clients. And I think, you know, with video, that is a really quick, efficient and wonderful way to be able to do that for the client. So going back, I think it's important to kind of share that you're not going to be $1 zillion. It depends on what someone wants. You know, if you do need a big commercial, it might be $1 zillion.
We can do it.
But you know,
I've never blown up a Lamborghini. I always want to blow off a Lamborghini.
Well, there you go. You never know. But you know, I think what's important here is to address is that just because you have done these big things, you are still working with businesses and small businesses and can create content that isn't going to cost them their whole business type of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that's something that's really important.
Yeah, our cheapest packages start at about $5,000 for like video. Animation, the cheapest packages for those usually around the 20 to 30,000 mark, just depending. There's a few examples you can do it cheaper there. But yeah, it's not all about like, you know, spending the most amount of money on the project.
Exactly.
And what I'd encourage your clients and people watching this to consider is just have an open mind.
Of course.
And explore the possibilities. And then, you know, like collaborating with yourself where you've got that strategy, you've got that roadmap of the destination of where the client wants and needs to get to, and then leveraging this powerful tool. And I'll give you an example. We're having a lot of success with video on demand at the moment.
Okay, great.
So we've done a few campaigns for different industries, so it works for almost any niche. We've got a massage and day spa in Canberra and Sydney. We've got financial service companies. We've got granny flat builders in Victoria.
Great.
And one of those organizations did a 12-week campaign. We created some video for them, and their revenue goals were to get from about 600K a month to $1 million. They ended up doing 6 million in sales in 12 weeks.
Wow.
So we've got case studies we can show that to qualified clients.
That's incredible. That's a great case study.
It's huge. It's massive ROI. You know, they might have spent 50, 60,000 on that video campaign over the 12 weeks, give or take. It might have been a touch more, but you know, to get 6 million back in revenue over 12 weeks.
And it's an investment. And I think that's what people, you know, even when I speak to clients, you know, people kind of sometimes look at anything, even socials, even PR, videography. Oh, but it costs. But the thing is, it's a bit very cliche. You got to spend money to make money. But I would kind of change that cliche to you got to spend money strategically to make money.
Do you know what boggles my mind, right? Is that you've got, you know, business owners driving around in a brand new Audi that's on rental, right? Because the accountant's gone, it's tax deductible, you get the GST back,
Correct.
You get the same kind of deductions with investing in video assets, yet the car's going to be worth 40 grand less in 3 years' time. Yet you're happy to burn cash on that, but you wouldn't put 40 grand into your business to generate another 2 million in sales and revenue at like 40% profit.
And what it does, it really
That's crazy.
It is.
That's crazy.
It's priorities, right? It's priorities, and it comes down to like values. Like the one thing that I've learned is people make decisions based on their values, right? So if you value your business growing, organically, then I think, doing things like that, investing properly will get you to where you need to be.
Yeah.
But I think, it's really changing very quickly. I think the digital kind of landscape and how people are consuming videos.
Business is changing.
Businesses are changing, and obviously, there's the whole world of AI. But what I wanted to really ask you is kind of how have you seen the changes in consumer behaviour when it comes to video content in the last few years? Because that's changing. Like I've noticed, I've been running my business, Savvy Creations, for 10 years now, and I've noticed like kind of this, it's speeding up a lot quicker. Like it used to be like, social media, and this is what people are liking, this is what people are connecting with, and it's kind of just going and speeding up like crazy now. So can you talk me through what the consumer behaviour is and what people are actually really engaging with when they do watch video?
Yeah, great question. When I started this, there was YouTube, Facebook, there was no LinkedIn, there was no TikTok. And Instagram, you could only put a photograph up.
Yeah, wow.
At the time.
Shows the age, don't worry. Right? I was a MySpace person.
Yeah, I had MySpace too, absolutely. And when I started pitching video assets for social media initially, the more mature the more mature demographics, who are now my primary clients, incidentally, they were like, oh, that's for kids. This isn't real.
Yeah. Cute.
And when we started like doing social media campaigns and clients were putting 30 grand in and we're getting $3 million worth of sales, I'd go back to those same people and go, you still think this is for kids?
Yeah.
And they're like, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And then they were scrambling to catch up.
Yeah.
And the brands that got onto it quickly have spent less and got more. And now to try and catch up to those brands, you've got to spend so much more because you waited.
Yeah.
And that's the bit where a lot of businesses now find themselves in, where they're like, damn,
it's
we should have done this.
Don't be a Kodak. I always say to people, don't be a Kodak.
Yeah.
Stop kind of waiting for things. You've got to be a leader, not a follower.
Don't be a Blockbuster.
Yeah, but Blockbuster, Kodak, there's so many, Nokia, there's so many examples where you
got to adapt.
And what I find is a lot of businesses, they go, well, it's working, it's not broken, so don't fix it. And it's like, well, actually, no, it might be cracking, it might not be broken, but I'm sure there's cracks somewhere if you look. So how are you finding today? What are you finding people are most kind of engaged with today when it comes to, and obviously you're creating different kinds of videos for different platforms, but what are you finding people are most engaging with?
So this dovetails in really cool now, because like now we're at a point where kind of every business wants and needs video, or they know that they need it.
Yeah.
So selling video is like, I need video.
Yeah.
But then actually selling video is actually still really, really hard.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's so many layers of complexity.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm finding now is we get a lot of we'd love that, we want that, we'd love that. And then you start talking numbers, and then sometimes that can shut them down. They're like, oh man, then they go, wait, I spend that much on my Audi, I spend that much on my Porsche, or I spend that on a new bathroom at home or whatever, right? And they're like, hang on, I'm gonna do it for a 30-second video. But pardon me, once you show them the case studies we're getting, the outcomes we're getting, that definitely then starts to transition the conversation forward. In terms of what
people
kind
buy
of
results, right?
Yeah, outcomes is everything. I don't sell videos, I sell results. Correct. I sell outcomes. And I don't even sell it. I put it in front of people and it's like, if you want to do it, do it.
Yeah.
If you don't, that's okay. But to answer your question there as well, what kind of content people are consuming now? People are consuming every type of content, short form content. People say that people have got short attention spans. I completely disagree. People will sit down and watch a 4-hour podcast.
Well, we'll see if everyone's going to watch this video.
Yeah, I know, right? I know, like the watch time's at like 3 seconds. Everyone's gone. But you know
Back to short form.
So this is really cool now, because our segues into like niches, right? So there will be people that are watching this right now, and thank you, hello.
Yes.
That will watch this entire video because it resonates with them right now.
Yeah.
And the other cool thing about a video is it lives on the internet longer than we will.
Yes,
these videos are going to be there when we're gone,
I
right?
know. It's your legacy.
People are going to get value bombs while we're 6 feet under. I know it sounds a bit morbid,
God forbid,
but people are going to watch this and they're going to be like, wow, those guys were amazing.
That's true.
Thank
it's kind
you.
of like, it's a legacy, really. Video is legacy. Yeah.
It's legacy. And this is why when I started in the industry, I identified really quickly that I only wanted to do higher end production. And when I say higher end, it's not about the dollar value, it's more like the refinement. And I like to make more timeless assets. Because even if like the product doesn't exist anymore for the client, or even if they've changed direction with the company, if that company is still around in 20 years time, they're gonna look back on those videos and they're gonna be like, man, you remember when we had that version of the phone? Do you remember when we had that version of the box? You know what I mean? And it's nostalgic.
It is.
And then marketing is so cool because it's storytelling. And then they can bring that out from 20 years ago.
A robot in 20 years.
And some AI robot will be like, look, Stephen made this phone back in the day. You know what I mean?
It's true. It's true.
So it's really cool like that. It's timeless. I like to create timeless assets. And like, you know, I've been doing it 10 years now. And I see some of my work from 5-6 years ago and I'm so proud of it.
It's great.
And
Love that.
the people, and when I say my work, like I've pretty much always had a team of people. So me as a director, I'm very rarely on the camera. I can do it and stuff like that. But you know, I'm usually producing, directing. But the cinematographers, the relationships I've got with people in the US, in Australia, in the UK, in Southeast Asia, the editors that I use bringing the vision to life.
Love that.
Like I'm so proud of the work we do, and that's something that I'm continuing to take forward with the company.
And I think what's wonderful is that you're trying to, well, not you're trying to, you're bringing all of that now to businesses and people to be able to experience that quality of craftsmanship. You know, I think it's art. It's a form of art. You know, you don't just become a painter overnight. You don't just become, you know, a producer overnight. It's years of refinement. So I think that's exactly kind of what you've done. And it's great to hear as well, you know, that you're proud of, you know, what you've done even 5, 6, 7 years ago. But yeah, I think it's great what you're doing. And I think there's a lot of value in it for yourself and for people that are potentially looking at going, all right, we need video now. We really need to get serious about getting ahead of the curve and not falling behind. Because all your competitors, there's nothing worse than watching all your competitors doing it and being ahead of you and you're going, damn, should have done that, you know. And I think anyone that is watching and that is considering, you know, should we, shouldn't we do it, video is the way to go. There's room for all different types of content, but honestly, I've been doing this for 10 years as well. I started my business 10 years ago and I have just seen the transition of what people consume, and video is really what people are most engaged with. They will click, and the reason is there's emotion in it. I think that's the biggest reason for me, what I find. You know, when you're scrolling through socials or the TV or whatever, you know, on TV it's only video, but when you're scrolling and you see a video, you connect, or you're connecting with people. And I think that's where, you know, we're all humans at the end of the day, we've all got emotion, and I think that's why it's so powerful. And I think in the world of digital and AI, people crave emotion. Right, people crave emotion because we're so overwhelmed with technology, with this, with that it kind of tends to dilute emotion. Where I think with video, you're kind of bringing that humanity back into the business.
Yeah, correct.
It's the opposite. So you're bringing that humanity, you're bringing that emotion. So that's why I think, and mark my words, I think it's just going to become more and more important over the years that people are getting the right strategy and the right videos for themselves, their business, their personal brand, movies, whatever it is. We're going to just see a rise in that over the years more than we've ever seen.
Yeah, I agree, and it's an interesting topic because like AI is becoming so prevalent now. We use AI quite a lot in our workflows, but we probably use it really differently to how people think. Like we don't just go and slap a script up with ChatGPT and go, "There's the script, guys." You know, like we're using AI to help find music tracks faster within the music software.
I think there's a place for AI. I think there's a place for it. Like anything, I think it can be used or it can be abused. You know, and I think if used properly, it can definitely, you know, help you. So yeah, that's great. I think, you know, we've yeah, we've kind of covered a lot. I think there's so much, and I feel like there's so much more we could speak about. But
For sure.
I think, you know, the main things you've kind of covered today is really, you know, what you do and the difference between a videographer and a production house, where the level and the quality of the videos that you receive and get and can then reuse is just on another level. And I think for me, you know, it's always been quality over quantity. I think that's important. But yeah, I've really enjoyed our conversation. So
Me too. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Appreciate
and
it.
yeah, thank you to everyone who's tuned in, if you have stayed this whole time. But yeah, if you do need any assistance or you're looking for someone to assist you with video for your business, whether it's your personal brand, whether you're a startup, whether you're looking for investments, whatever it is, there's so many different things that you can leverage. Cam and his team and the great.
Well, you need the assets, right? Because they'll get the
assets.
Communication strategy from Sandra.
Exactly.
And then they go first thing you're going to ask him is, okay, so where's your assets?
And that's a really great point. So, you know, when I work with clients, when it comes to social media, people go, okay, we want social media, great, but what are your assets? And 9 times out of 10, people don't have assets.
Nothing.
They're like, you do the assets, which we can do, but we tee up with clients.
Well, then you'll come to us.
Correct. So we tee up with photographers, videographers, production houses, because, you know, what we really do very well is we kind of look at the strategy, what's the core messaging that you want to get
and
ahead.
the distribution, right?
And the distribution. But I think sometimes people have this misconception that we've got someone that's just going to do the whole shabam.
That's the dream. That's what they want.
But also you can't do everything great, you know. And I think this is what needs to be brought forward, is that, you know, we work with production houses, we work with photographers. Like now I've incorporated a photographer into my packages because I was finding people would just go, oh, we don't have any photos, we don't have anything. So we have a photographer as part of our package, but we still need, you know, people like yourself.
Well, here we are today. I own a production company and I've got a freelance great friend of mine, Eva, who's an amazing photographer and videographer here shooting content. I've literally used video to scale my brand, and I'm a production company.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. So
I practice what I preach. We're actually about to launch our own TV ad soon as well.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, which will be super cool.
Which channel?
Classified, secret.
Oh,
it'll be across a few of them.
Well, stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Yeah.
But look, I've really enjoyed it. I think it's been great, and I think
it's
been fantastic. And I think, you know, like I said, there's a conversation that can continue here. I think there's so many levels and layers to what you do and what I do, and the world of kind of marketing. It's changing very quickly. So I really appreciated your time.
Some comments in the chat if anyone's got any questions. We're happy to answer them.
But thank you so much for watching. And if you've got any questions, feel free to send a DM. Thank you.
Peace.
Bye.